Hi, I'm Sharon Collins with Georgia Outdoors. You know, there's a great place in North Georgia that you can visit for a few hours, a day, or even a whole week. There are lots of hiking trails, and as you're about to see, some of them can be pretty rugged.
At first, it sounds like a distant rainstorm as splashing water echoes through the forest. Winding through the deep woods, there is a small stream, but that's not what you heard. As you climb over rocks and make your way down a trail, the noise gets louder. You begin to make a cautious approach because there is now a thundering boom. A warning that something huge lies up ahead. A thing that sounds like the edge of the earth. A few more steps, around the bend, and suddenly you are upon it. Raw power in the form of water. Power and breathtaking beauty. You're about to see why Georgia is considered home to some of the most spectacular waterfalls in North America. Many are easy to get to, others involve a hard hike. You'll find one of those tough trails at our first stop, Tallulah Gorge, near Clayton. Although there are easier ways to take in the scenery here, this straight shot down brings a new perspective. You begin to understand why park rangers check your shoes before letting you begin this hike. But check out the view from the bottom. These granite walls were carved over thousands of years by the persistent pounding of water on rock. The canyon is about 1,000 feet deep and 2 miles long. Hurricane is the largest of 5 waterfalls. It drops 96 feet before smashing violently against the rocks below. Like many waterfalls in the state, these have an interesting history. Located in the rugged mountains of northeast Georgia, the Tallulah region remained largely unsettled until the late 1800s. Local historian James Turpin says the rough terrain made life tough for the earliest settlers.
If you've never traveled by wagon and horse and wagon on dirt roads, that's pretty rugged. And if you're going to try to cover several miles a day, family there, bouncing along, I got to remember, no McDonald's. Anything you was going to have, you had to take with you. You may stop and get water out of a spring. That'd be it.
People were somewhat isolated. To get to the other side of the gorge, you had to go north or south. There were not any bridges. But in 1882, everything changed with a new railroad. A trip that used to take 5 days could now be made in hours.
Your excursions came out of Athens, Atlanta, on up this way on the train. And the excursions, they would have 100 or more people coming in at one time. They'd have a band out here playing.
Bands played, bars opened. It was party time in Tallulah Falls. Hotels began to line the dirt streets, and the gorge became known as the Niagara of the South. Women in long skirts and men in slick leather shoes somehow made their way down the steep ravine to pose by the falls. Then the railroad extended north, and Tallulah River was dammed for electric generation. Tourists began to bypass the now diminished falls. Turpin, who's also a Methodist minister, remembers one grand effort to bring back the visitors.
Well, I guess the biggest thing that happened during my lifetime concerning the gorge and all was when Carl Walenda walked across the gorge on his high wire. I had the invocation for that. And how do you pray for a nut out there on the wire? Said, oh Lord, just keep them feet walking. Just keep them walking. Please walk right on across. And of course, Carl walks right on across.
On July 18, 1970, the famous aerialist crossed the gorge and threw in 2 headstands to boot. But the stunt failed to bring back the glory days of Tallulah Falls. This is what brought back the tourists. Regular water flow, provided by Georgia Power, with special releases to thrill the kayakers. Today, Tallulah Gorge State Park is like a 2,000-acre playground. There are staircases down to the falls and a suspension bridge that crosses 80 feet above the rocks below. Park Superintendent Danny Tatum says this is one of the most beautiful places in the world.
I mean, it's never the same thing. You get to meet people, you get to see, showing the gorge, showing stuff that people just awed at, and I get to work here every day. You're going in to see the waterfalls, to see the vistas, to see the plants, the trees. It's just a fascinating job, and it's like I say, it's just something that I look forward to every day when I get up.
There are more waterfalls just around the mountain. South of the gorge, you'll find one of the few free-fall waterfalls in the state, Toccoa. It comes from the Cherokee word for beautiful. Located on the campus of Toccoa Falls College, the water here drops 186 feet straight down from a ledge.
There are plenty of camping sites at Tallulah Gorge for both tents and RVs, and last time I checked, parking was only $5. Plus, you're close to a number of state parks and the Alpine Village of Helen. I hope you get to go. It's definitely worth the visit.